Oh, did we lose Joe? Yeah, we do. Welcome back, everybody. Tom Trento here on TrentoVision.tv. That's the... What the heck is that?
Yikes.
That was loud.
We know all this stuff.
Tom Trento, TrentoVision.tv. What is that?
Peter's Bonafide.
There you go. Thank
We
you.
know who you are. If you need a lawyer, Peter
we know
Feynman,
where to find you.
FeynmanLaw.com. He may not be able to find his way to your office, but he can find his way to a judgment in your favor.
Well, I may not know every answer, but I can find out.
You can find out every answer. So
correct.
Here we are. It's 7 minutes past 4 o'clock on the 9th of January. It is a Wednesday, the middle of the week, and it's been a phenomenal week. First real week back into the year 213. Peter, we've made a vow in this room. We don't use the zero anymore, the 2013.
Right.
Just, you don't need it. Why is it zero? What do you need a zero?
213.
213.
I call it 1984.
Yeah, she's calling it 1984. We call it 213.
213.
Okay.
I like that.
And then if somebody
and Mike
gets
is with me.
and if somebody gets confused thinking it's the year AD 213,
It's CE.
get away from them very quickly,
It's
okay?
CE
Actually,
1984.
213 AD would be okay because Muhammad hadn't shown up
He's
yet.
not there yet. Hey, it's not bad.
So,
See
you know,
how
there you
easily
go.
he fits right in
He fits
here?
right in. He just it's like OJ's glove and his hand. You know, he faked that, OJ. He was making his hand, and they were supposed to have a other stuff, but he did it. I was
you
there.
know what?
I was there. He did it.
If the glove gets wet, it shrinks. So.
If the glove don't fit, you gotta quit.
But if you lie, you deserve to die.
Yeah. I was there. I walked up to the place where he stabbed Nicole. It was that far away.
Oh,
I was at the trial. I covered it for about a year. It was a crazy, crazy thing. But in any event, we're on to other stuff right now on TrentoVision.tv. And WNN 1470, we keep telling you, get your little application, iHeartRadio. Do you have iHeartRadio?
Not yet. But by the way, what's the number to call in here again?
Oh, the number to call in, and we may take some people today, 888-565-1470. So you have the call numbers for the station, the last 4 digits, 1470. 888 means you ain't got to pay for it.
gosh.
Somebody
Actually,
put
we
over
do have
somebody put a 10 over that circus, will you?
That's pretty good.
We do have
My
a caller.
gosh. Come
Put
on.
a tent over that circus. That's a good one.
Holy jeez.
I feel
can't
the love.
wait
I
till
feel the love.
Friday.
Things are falling
I feel the love.
That is pretty good. Yeah, it's sort of a standing. What do we have? We have somebody actually trying to get in and talk to us?
Yeah.
Who is it? You got any?
It's Alex.
Bring him on. Start
Well,
out
I
the
don't know
hour.
if Alex is a boy or a girl.
Bring him.
Yes, no.
Oh, it's a guy. Oh, we know
No,
Alex.
I did call before.
Yes, we know you, Alex. How you doing? You're our good friend. How's everything going?
Good. No, I wanted to, I had an idea for the cartoon competition.
Okay, what is it? Now we're gonna put
maybe,
your name down for this so that nobody steals it from you.
Okay.
Okay. There's like a desk that's employment office.
Desk
And
employment office.
the President Islam Osama and Vice President Bin Laden are sitting in the desk, and then the only people that are looking,
He's laughing at his own joke.
I'm sorry?
No, you're laughing at your own joke. That's a good joke usually. So wait, let me get this right. You got a desk. It's in an unemployment office, and Obama and Bin Laden.
Bin Laden and who?
No, Islam Osama, President Obama. I'm sorry, President Obama. I just call him Islam Osama. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
And Vice President Bin Laden.
Biden. Okay.
Bin Laden.
Obama and Biden, Bin Laden. That's pretty good.
Islam Obama.
And then the only people that they're looking for a job are Almudena, Castro, and Chavez.
Oh, that's
That's
pretty good.
That is pretty
yeah,
good.
We actually like that.
That's pretty
It's
good.
actually pretty good.
So that's a quick phone call. I want to thank you for all that you do, and I will become a reporter of your show pretty soon.
Excellent.
awesome.
Try to support
Okay.
you anyway,
Fantastic.
guys. No
That's
problem.
great. We appreciate it. Thank you very much, Alex.
Okay.
You
Thank
take
Tom.
care.
Take it easy, Betty. That's a good
Talk
joke.
to you
I like that
soon.
one. I like that
That's a
one.
good one.
That's a good one.
That was a good one. We have a contest going on.
For the first one out of the gate, that was really
Yeah.
Better than mine.
People can come up with a political idea or cultural idea, and just a rough idea like that. And then Mort, this is Mort's idea. Mort will make a cartoon, caricature, sign it and everything, and award it. There's a blue ribbon panel right here
Right.
that will adjudicate the entries, and then we'll pick the winner. And Mort will draw it up, and we'll have a little
Tom, don't
presentation.
use words you can't spell.
Mort,
Right?
M-U-R-T, Mort.
Either
Mort.
adjudicate or don't swear. I don't know which one.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, but we're dealing with the four horsemen of apocalypse, and as Barry Rubin said in his brilliantly written, very astute article, these are stupid people that are dangerous people that are not only anti-Israel, these four people, but they're he uses the term Islamist. I don't use that term, but he means jihadi,
Peter, what are you
pro-jihadi.
taking notes on?
Well, for,
He's a lawyer. He's taking notes on
yeah,
Tom's
that's what they
commentary.
do.
this is important because
That's
for
what they
our
do.
listening and viewing audience, remember we're here for education as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go over who the four horses are again, right?
President
Red?
Obama,
Right?
Is he the red horse or the black horse
Okay.
or the white horse?
Hegel,
former Senator Chuck Hagel.
or would it be called anti-Semitic Hegel or just Hegel?
You can put a little anti-Semitic in there, sure.
Kerry?
What is that guy? What?
Well, what is he? What is?
Why
Kerry?
is he even being considered? What are his creds?
Heinz 57 varieties Kerry, I guess.
Yeah.
He married another rich girl first.
He did?
Yeah, and they got divorced, and he got some of that, and then he got some of this, the Heinz stuff.
Well, if you can't earn it, steal it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Anyway, and who's the fourth?
John Brennan,
Brennan, that's
National
right,
Security
Brennan.
National
Okay.
Security Advisor for the president.
So we've got famine, death, pestilence, and war. Which one is pestilence?
Okay, that could be a good contest. Which one is pestilence?
Why are you looking at me funny?
Famine,
I'm not looking
death.
at you. I'm looking past
You were smiling earlier. What? That
Famine,
was
death,
off the air, I
pestilence.
guess,
no,
though,
no,
huh?
no, I was
Okay.
looking past you.
All right.
Hey, you got a whole day with her. You better be
That's
nice
right.
to her.
You got 3 hours.
You better be nice to her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
he
got-
knows what he's saying when
She
he
holds
says
the power.
You got a
You're so beautiful.
You have a 3-hour
Yeah.
stint with her.
Yeah.
In one of our
We
lawsuits,
will entertain and enlighten.
Yes, in one of our lawsuits, those two guys worked together. As you trained her as a paralegal. Remember that?
I did. That's
Yeah.
why she's no longer one.
She's on your show.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. Okay.
All right.
taking back your chocolate
Is this Comedy USA or is this serious
No, we do
commentary about
serious
the
stuff. We do
fall and
serious
destruction
stuff.
of the great
But
empire of the United
sometimes,
States?
sometimes I lose complete control of the ensemble. But
We make jihad fun.
actually never lose control. I allow it to go to regions that work.
Well, we're going to have a lot to talk about on Friday if I can self-promote.
Now, what we're going to do is this. Here's what we're going to do. The Hegel, all that stuff. Let's get we're making a transition now from jocularity, hilarity, and pure just fraternity house fun to very serious national security issues. Oh, but wait, you're here. How am I going to do that? No, your quick thoughts on this team that Obama is assembling from a foreign policy and internal policy perspective. Then I want to go into some of the hot issues that you dealt with just today, and we'll tell the folks about what you're going to be doing on Friday. So give us your thoughts on where Obama's going, national security. That's a good picture.
The four horsemen, you could name them you could name them appeasement, surrender, placate, and capitulate. That would be the same way to describe those four horsemen. Our president is the great appeaser. We placate, and we even surrender, like we did in Libya when they attacked our embassy. So it's amazing. You were telling me right around that time, I was on this show. It was your show here at Trento Vision where you said there's a lot of chatter, something's going to go on. And it did. And we got attacked, and then we've only gone downhill since. And with the appointment of these people, we should be afraid. We should be very afraid.
I was reading today that the White House is now floating a new balloon, and the balloon is all the troops out of Afghanistan. It was going to be by 2014, or as we like to say, 214. It was going to be all the primary troops. Then there was going to be a force between 5 and 20,000 left there to assist the Afghani government in not allowing the Taliban to rebuild. And the White House today said, well, that's not quite how we see it. They said, those are our objectives, but we may be able to meet those differently. So they're trying to get all troops out, which is another surrendering. It's just completely, it makes no sense. And I have a nephew that's going to be deploying pretty soon, 19-year-old Ranger, Army Ranger, going to a bad area. But
well, I have a little different take on that. Either you go into it full bore or you don't. I mean, don't go in there half. You know, I mean, do you want to put people over there? I'm actually for it. At least he's getting them out of there. You know, as far as my
Actually, that's not a bad point.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. If they're
made
gonna,
by our circus man.
if they're going to come out, then there has to be a plan like General Paul Valley's lily pad plan, where we have bases of operations where we can deploy unbelievable lethality very, very quickly without having a heavy footprint in country, and we're not doing nation building. We're doing nation destruction. So, but it's been historically very difficult to beat anybody in Afghanistan because of all the caves and all of that. But you can mess their life up with delivering heavy lethality. That's General Paul Valley's approach. But Obama's going to pull everybody out and let it become a Taliban base again.
Well, he doesn't let the ones who are there fight anyway.
That's what I was just going to say. That's a great point,
CJ.
CJ. The rules of engagement are so
What are we there for anyway?
atrocious.
And who are you fighting?
Yeah,
what
putting our men and women at risk. That if you're not gonna let them fight, then Mark's point is well taken. Then get them the heck out.
Yep, absolutely.
I cleaned that up for your show.
Yes.
Okay.
But hell is okay. You can say hell.
All right.
You can't say beep. You can't say that word.
Oh, come on. Shut the front door. Really?
You can say that.
Yeah. Oh, come on. So, yeah, we're having fun today. This is a serious topic.
But you have a little treasure invested in this whole thing.
Yes, I do. But
Big treasure.
Yeah, I have a son who's currently employed at Qatar, which is how you pronounce Qatar. Most people say Qatar or Qatar.
Qatar.
It's Qatar.
Yeah.
I have it on first-hand information.
Okay. Qatar. We'll go with that. His son is there.
He's got top secret clearance, so I don't know what he's doing. He doesn't answer my emails, and he did call on Christmas. Got to speak to him. Not over the holidays. He called me on Christmas. Are we allowed to say Christmas on this show?
On this show, all kinds of
only
stuff like
only
that.
twice an hour.
Yeah.
But we put the beep button on, so it's like the cuss word.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, so Lou, now that I have you on, and by the way, when the phone rings, it's some number I don't recognize and identifies the city. Okay, it was not Langley, but it was somewhere out in California. But
that's where it's coming in.
Yeah.
He's over in Qatar.
Yeah,
and
he's
it's coming
in
out
Qatar
of California.
and identifies it as a city where we have a base, and I don't want to say what that
Right,
city
right,
is.
right.
But at any rate, I said, so Lou, I said, tell me about the next secret operation and who's going to lead it. And he says, shut up, Dad. Okay, fine.
Maybe he got a job with Al Jazeera.
Al Jazeera, that's good.
You like that one?
That is really good.
We coined that one here.
Peter is so busy, he never has time to listen to our show or watch any of the archives because
It's only 3 hours a day. It's only 3 hours a day.
Only 3 hours. That's all we ask. 3 hours a day.
Just give us 3 hours of your life
I
every day.
was listening to it in the car, and I do.
Just write us a good chat.
I can do that.
Heaven's
I
sakes.
can do that. After the notoriety I'm going to get from being a guest
Yes,
host
right.
on your show, I should be able to do that.
Or when you
but
cash in on one of them big
I did set my
judgments.
AM radio to 1470.
All right.
So it's one of the choices, and you just push the button,
It's
and
the
there
only
you
choice.
are.
It's the only choice.
It's
At least between 3 and 6.
Very
And 6
exciting.
6 to 9 in the morning. Our good friends Steve and Brian. You got to listen to them too. All right, Peter, you who are you? You know, we push you. We represent you as one of our sponsors, our non-paying sponsors here. But
he does-
and on the paying side, go to TrentoVision.tv. Donate securely. We need your continued support. Tell everybody who you are and
Put it this
Where are
way,
we going?
200 words or less. Tell
Sure.
us everything you know. Be general yet specific at the same time.
Sure, no problem. I'm first and foremost a husband and a father,
okay.
and a Christian man.
Okay.
And those are the three things I'd like to be defined by first.
Okay.
Okay? Been married in this marriage for over 20 years. And
Mazel
so
tov.
that's a personal record. The first time I only made it 13. But moving on to matters more seriously, I am an attorney, been a trial attorney for over 30 years here in South Florida. And I enjoy that, and that supports my family. In fact, it allows me to do what I like most, which is to get involved in foreign policy matters, write books, and be involved in politics. And that's my passion, is saving this country. You know, my dad was a World War II bomber pilot, flew over 35 missions in Germany, won the Distinguished Flying Cross.
Wow.
My son serves, and that has not been lost on me. We have the greatest country that's ever been in the history of the world. And if we don't do everything we can to save it, we're going to lose it. I spoke to a congressman this weekend. Steve Sutherland represents Congressional District 2 in North Florida. What a great American. We had dinner together. We sat and had dinner from like 10 o'clock till midnight last Saturday. Just gotten back from Washington. Completely disgusted by the debt deal that was made. Of course, voted against it. But in all seriousness, looked me right in the eye across from the dinner table and said, we are that close to tyranny here in the United
Wow.
States. And he was as serious as a budget deficit. He was serious. And so they smell blood in the water, the liberal Democrats,
Yep.
the socialists, the Marxists,
Oh.
the Nancy Pelosi's, and they got tax hikes this time around. That's just the beginning for them. And if we as a Republican Party don't stiffen up and straighten up, we are going to be co-conspirators in the loss of this great country.
Now, you're involved with the Republican Party in what capacity?
I am the national committee man for the Republican Party of Florida. Nobody knows what the hell that is, but I'll explain it real quickly. I represent the state of Florida at the RNC in Washington.
This is your first year doing this, right?
Yes. First year, got elected a year ago, January, and we have our first meeting of the year coming up in Charlotte, North Carolina, in a week and a half. We have to elect our chairman, our vice chairman, our co-chairman, our secretaries, our treasurers, and that sort of thing going forward for the next 2 years. And we're meeting in Charlotte, North Carolina, because we refused to meet in Washington, D.C. During the inauguration week.
Oh.
That's there. We had planned to meet in Washington, D.C., coincide with the inauguration of Mr. Romney. However, when that didn't come to pass, we said, we're not going to meet here, changed our plans. We're going to Charlotte, in this cycle, a new red state. You know, they went blue 4 years ago.
Yep.
So we're rewarding Charlotte
Cool.
with our meeting.
So there's been a lot.
So who's in the running for these top positions? Can you say?
Well, Reince Priebus, is our reigning chairman. And
He's got to change his name.
and-
I mean, it's hard to remember his name.
right, Reince
Tell him to do that.
Priebus.
Okay.
Okay. He's a German and a Greek. Now, there's a combination. Okay. But I think he's going to get reelected.
Really? He
And
does a good
people-
job.
And people say, why? You just lost a terrible election. You got hammered. But activists realize that the people that really messed up this campaign were the Romney elites, the consulting elites, and people like that, not the Republican Party. They didn't listen to us. They didn't get involved with us. They pushed us away. They said, don't worry, we got it covered. We said, we have get out the vote programs that we've been using for years. They said, no, we got a new one called Orca. And that was their code name. Orca. And
That's not a good name.
Orca died on the beach. Okay.
Died in Deerfield Beach.
Died on the
Killer
beach.
whale
The program crashed on election day. And we have a database.
It actually crashed?
Yes. We have a database of every Republican
Oh, my God.
that we expect to vote in a presidential election in the entire United States, state by state, broken down county by county, so that you get to about noon on election day, you go through your likely voter list, and the program is supposed to spit out who hasn't voted. So then you have your volunteers pick up the phone and say, hey, Mrs. Smith, we see you haven't voted. Can we help you get to the polls? Is there a problem? Anything we need to do? That's one of the ways you get out the vote. Orca died on election
God.
day. It got stranded on the beach. Literally, it crashed.
Was it sabotage?
And we paid millions and millions to people who I don't want to talk about who they had relationships to or with in order to get that program. I'll just say this. We need to get the consulting elites out of our party.
Well, we have the consulting.
Hang
elites
on
right-
one second. Hang on
Yeah.
a second.
I
This
just
is hang on. You're not going to be here Friday. This is the first time we have anyone who's been in the center
Yeah,
of the election in here. We've had people that have been activists, like you are,
Right.
but you were an operative. You were an insider.
I was in Tampa on election day.
But 888-565-1470. We're going to take calls, and I think you gave us a short list of stuff that we can talk about. But I want to camp on this for a minute. I want to see what the heck happened. You know, what from your analysis right now. You can bring around from your analysis right now. You talked about the Romney elites and the consulting elites and all of this. 888-565-1470. Who do we have there, CJ?
We have Valanda on the line.
Hello, Valanda.
Hi.
Hi, you're on with Tom and everybody and our special guest,
And
Peter
meet
Feynman.
Peter Feynman, who you've
Hi,
heard so
Peter.
much about.
Listen, I overheard something. I was listening to another talk show. Oh, he threw out this this theory. He says that Chuck Hagel is not Obama's first choice. He said that between the gay lobby and the Jewish community, who's not too enamored with the Hagel choice, there may be someone else, and Hagel's nomination may go down. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, it was David Duke was his other choice for Secretary of
Yes.
Defense.
Well, I'll let Peter answer it, then I have a couple thoughts on it.
Sure. I haven't spoken to any senators yet on that because they're not up for. I don't think the hearing's been scheduled yet for that. I do speak to Marco Rubio on a regular basis. He will vote against Hagel. Now, are there enough Marco Rubios around in the Senate? No. I mean, he voted against the debt deal, but there aren't enough of them, us, yet. We're working on it. We've got the sophomore class in Congress is about 70 strong, and they're all like Congressman Sutherland, Marco Rubio, me. I'm new to the RNC. There's a whole new class of people like me, national committee men and women, who are also fed up with what's going on. But I would say that the Hagel nomination could easily go through because he's a former colleague, and these are good old boys up there. And they don't, sometimes they put the good old boys club, not sometimes, a lot, ahead of the nation. And
But what
so
about-
I'm not optimistic.
Yeah, but Peter, what about the gay lobby? Now, the gay lobby is pretty powerful, and if he's offended some guys in that community, wouldn't they also put a monkey wrench in that nomination?
Yes, in the Obama administration, the gay lobby is very powerful. He panders to that community all the time. And so that's a good point. And I don't have any information on that yet, but I can find out.
Yeah, my thought real fast, Valanda, is this is Tom speaking. It's pretty standard operating procedure to have a real guy, then throw the crash test dummy guy out to get beat up and see what's going to work, what's not. Maybe have two or three that you really want. You throw the test guy out. But the reason I don't think that's true now is Obama and Chuck Hagel became very close friends. They both stood, I think they were the only senators voting against the Iraqi war. They became best buds. They really became, and Obama is a insecure narcissist. That's an interesting combination. And he surrounds himself with people that he trusts that have some sort of loyalty to him. As strong as the gay lobby is, he's got no loyalty to those guys. I mean, he's immune from those guys. They voted for him. He'll never run another election. He's got a great retirement plan. He's got Secret Service for the rest of his life. He wants to change the world toward a pro-Arab, pro-Islamic perspective. Chuck Hagel's the guy to do it. So I think he's going to get nominated. Mark, your thoughts?
Yeah, I was going back more to what Peter was saying earlier about the elite of the Romney campaign running this last election.
No, just on Hagel, then we'll switch to that because I want to finish with Valanda. Anything on Hagel?
It just more the same. I mean, the Hagel nomination is actually just straight. He's pushing the envelope as much as he can push it. He's pushing every button that he can think to get his agenda. People keep thinking he's looking out for America, for the good of the country. No, I completely disagree. The debt ceiling, he's wanting the debt ceiling to increase. He's wanting to
hold
go
all that stuff. Just Hagel. What do you got on Hagel?
What the thing about is exactly the Hagel nomination.
Okay.
He's pushing the envelope.
All right, Valanda.
Yeah.
Thank you once again. We appreciate you listening.
Yeah.
All right.
One quick question.
Okay.
With respect to the Rice-Priebus renomination, did Orca have, did Romney's consultants have control over what went on in the congressional races too? I was wondering about that. Did they have any control as to
no.
people, acted or what have you?
Not the Romney consultants per se, no.
Okay.
So they're just on presidential.
There were just other bad consultants in some of those races, like the Allen West race, for example, but that's for another day.
We want to hear about that, too. All right, thanks, Valanda. Let me let Valanda go, and then, because we got a lot to get through, and the clock is ticking. You can only stay with us an hour, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Valanda. Good questions.
And I'll be back.
And that's right. You'll be back on Friday to clean up some of this stuff. 888-565-1470 if you'd like to speak to a Republican insider, all you Tea Party people that want to start a third party that I may help you with. Here's now a guy to talk to, Peter Feynman, our lawyer friend, our good friend, our litigator, and book writer. You got a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Well, after all my kids, I got 5 kids. After I became an empty nester, it was like either drink heavily or write a book.
Or do both.
I decided to do both.
Write the both.
Yeah.
What are your books? Tell us about your books. I mean,
my first book was actually...
Do you have a picture, like a...
I do. Hold on.
Product placement.
Yeah, here it is. Bingo.
Right there.
The Next Nightmare. My first book was Wake Up America.
Mm-hmm.
But
which sold out.
It
you
did,
can't
but
get it.
not enough people woke up, so I figured I'd better write a second book. So The Next Nightmare details the destruction of the United States during Obama's second term, which I wrote last year, with a foreword by Alan West, and you can get it at my website, thenextnightmare.com. You can get it at Amazon, and if you attend one of my speaking events, you can get a signed copy. I'm speaking in Melbourne on Saturday, and next month I'm in Jacksonville. I'm going to post my speaking tour events on my website soon.
The Next Nightmare?
Yes.
Okay. And you're speaking on that. What is the thesis of the book?
The thesis of the book is unless we change the direction that we're heading, we will be destroyed at the hands of the jihadis, the Islamists, whatever you want to say.
Yeah, you go.
Unless we change direction, and that doesn't look like it's going to happen with the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse here that we've been talking about. We will see the destruction of the United States at the hands of the jihadis within the next 4 years, and that's what I write about and predict in my book. I create a make-up scenario of the destruction of the United States in the final chapter. You can read
Spooky stuff. All right, while we're on books, let me do something here. Okay, this book right here, The Harbinger. Have you read this yet?
I have.
Yeah, have you read this?
Yes, I have.
What'd you think?
Great.
Isn't this interesting?
Yes, very interesting.
I mean, our other engineer, Joe, suggests that I read it. I read it, and you go, oh, man, there's too much coincidence in this.
Right.
And the book basically is the story of how 9/11 was the 9/11 and related events were the harbingers, 9 of them, the harbingers of the forerunners of the the judgment of the United States of America, but it's paralleled with prophecies out of the Hebrew Bible, out of Isaiah, that were harbingers, forerunners of the destruction of Israel.
And that's great.
And the parallels between some of the 9/11 stuff and the prophet Isaiah are just frightening. So, and there's a lot of history in here. And so I'm going to do some stuff. We're going to do some stuff. But right now, this is a reading assignment. I got one of these for CJ to read, and I got one for Mark to read.
Very nice.
So that's your homework assignment for the next week.
Homework is good.
I'll give it to Jess.
And
She'll give me the cliff notes.
And then we'll discuss it on the air and see if it makes any sense. So tell us what, Mark.
No, I wanted to ask Peter a question about. He was talking about the.
Hold on. Pull yours now. Oh, so you guys got to go back and forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were talking about the elites in the Republican Party
Take a lot of pictures, Mike.
controlling Romney.
Don't take pictures.
No, we need them for the website. They need them.
And now we hear the same elites saying that we should, we should modify our views on abortion. We should modify our views on illegal immigration. We should modify. Is that what you're hearing coming from these same elites that just got us, hand us the loss in Romney, or what are you hearing as far as on should we change our message or values or something like that?
The elites don't get into policy as much as they get into the right candidates to perpetuate their income stream. There are millions upon millions of dollars spent in political campaigns, and their job is to look good to the candidate and other candidates that will be coming after, and they don't get into the minutia of policy. So they'll say that if that's what they think they need to say, the candidate wants to hear. But I can tell you, the Republican Party itself, we're not changing our worldview. We're not changing our mission. We're not changing our platform. We believe we have the right platform going forward, and that's to rein in an out-of-control government that's become a monster. That's to change the course of our foreign policy, recognize, for the first time in our platform, by the way, we recognize Islam and Sharia law as a threat to the United States. Just the opposite of the other party.
I mean, what we're hearing from you as a national committee man, and what we're hearing from the people who are in office right now seem to be competing, values and competing, systems. Is like we see this constant caving by the Republicans,
Well, hold on. Now, you can't lump all Republicans into what Mitch McConnell and John Boehner are.
Okay.
John Boehner and Mitch McConnell are a dying breed of the Republican Party, and that part of the Republican Party is going to go the way of the Whigs. Okay? And the Abraham Lincolns are going to arise once again in the Republican Party and lead us out of slavery and into freedom.
In our lifetime?
Yes, in our lifetime. Okay. The sophomore class in Congress is fiercely conservative.
Okay.
There's 70 of them. They're the largest class. Okay. They could have taken down John Boehner. How do I know that? I spoke to Congressman one-on-one, and they decided now is not the time, but the time is coming. But it'll be in God's time. It won't be in the time of their choosing. Cantor could have taken him down.
Now, what is the problem with Boehner? What is the fundamental problem with him being the Speaker of the House?
He does not have inculcated or within him, a true belief in his heart of the moral superiority of the conservative philosophy of government. Therefore, he cannot articulate it. People like Marco Rubio and others, they understand in their own heart, because of their personal experiences, communism versus capitalism, free enterprise. They understand the moral superiority of limited government, conservative government, strong national defense. Boehner doesn't. So I don't care if he grew up poor. He doesn't believe it in his heart. He's a moderate Republican. So is Romney. So he couldn't articulate an emotional message as to the moral superiority of the conservative philosophy of government and why it's immoral. Not just bad public policy, it's immoral to spend money the way we're spending. It's immoral to raise taxes on people who make more money. And I have a whole 30-minute talk on the immorality of the liberal philosophy of government. And I'll mention it real quick. For example, Here's the story of America. You're 12 years old, and your mother is peeling potatoes over the kitchen sink, and she's crying. You go, "What's wrong, Mom?" And she says, "I don't want to bother you with this, but I don't know how we're going to make the mortgage payment this month." And that 12-year-old son or that 12-year-old daughter vows right then that they're going to be different. They're going to go out. They're going to become a lawyer, a doctor, a businessman, an accountant, an entrepreneur, anything, but they're going to better their family's life. And they go out, and because of this great country, they do. They get to the point now where they're actually providing for themselves, for their children, and providing for their elderly parents now. It takes $250,000 a year to do that. And now the government comes to that person after struggling his or her whole life, growing up the way I just described, and says, "Pay me more." That's immoral. How dare you? By what moral authority you go to that person and then say, "You now owe"? That's immoral.
No,
That's how you communicate the conservative message to people, where it grabs their heart, rips it out, and they go, "You know what? You're right." And that's how you win elections. That's where the Republican Party is going to head. That's where we need to head. That's it.
Peter Feynman, ladies and gentlemen, he will be your guest host on Friday. Preach it, brother Peter.
I would love to hear every Republican in Florida say just what he just said. I mean, where is that type of leadership? Where is that moral conviction to do that? I mean, this is the type of leadership that we're looking for. Something that can come out and just say the way it is and what we feel.
Well, we had Alan West, and he went down in flames. What happened with Alan West? He spoke. He was one of the most passionate guys out there.
The campaign by Alan West in the 2010 election cycle versus the 2012 cycle, or 212 as you say, okay, were two different campaigns. He abandoned the campaign that he ran in 2010. He spent so much money attacking this unknown Murphy, where he actually began to get sympathy for Murphy. Okay, he forgot about the story he needed to tell, and he let the consultants dictate how he should run his campaign. Sure, he needed to bring to light that Murphy was unqualified, but you don't spend $2 million showing your opponent's face on TV from college every 3 hours. He gets in there and tells that story about growing up in Atlanta, on the streets in Atlanta, underneath parents who, if nothing else, believed in this country and imbued in Colonel West that same feeling about the greatness of this country. And then he knew, when he realized that the only home for his patriotism was the Republican Party. He serves the country well as a colonel in the Army and comes back to serve his country as a congressman. What happened to that message? Did you see that message on TV here in this district? No, you did not, because the consulting elites, Mark, that we talked about earlier, got a hold of his campaign now that he was an incumbent. That guy had more money than any congressman other than John Moderate Boehner. Okay.
Like the numbers I heard were 18 million. I know a little bit about placing ads.
Republicans didn't turn out in Martin County. That's where it comes on, and that's another show where we can talk about what happened to
and the
Alan
Christians
West.
didn't turn out, but from the elites, when you have a media buy, not only is it the open rate, you pay the most typically, but the media buyer takes his 15% off, and I'm just going, oh my God, all this money, 18 million bucks.
Gosh.
So and you got to make the commercial.
Yeah.
Cost that. Then you got to run the commercial. Oh.
And he came across as an angry man. Americans like their conservatives if they're happy. What was Reagan's nickname? The happy warrior, right? You have to be a happy conservative, because otherwise our message is just gloom and doom. Like you, Mr. Trento, you have to be jocular and funny on this show, or people after a couple hours just, I can't take it.
They'll drive the car off the bridge.
I can't take it. We're all going to drive off the bridge.
We can make them.
So that's why we have to have a little fun, too.
Absolutely. What is Alan going to be doing?
So, CJ, put your clothes back on. That's later. Okay.
What is Alan going to be doing? Alan West.
That's a great question.
You're married.
I called him up.
20 years. You're married 20 years.
Did I say that? Oh, I hate when that happens.
Not Jewish.
I hate when that happens.
Well, start number
Jewish. What do you mean? I stand on the shoulders of Jewish giants to be a Christian. Isn't that enough?
I'm not even going to tell you what the trifecta would be.
I know this is a family show.
That's right.
It's not a make a family show.
What? Any idea what Colonel West is going to be doing?
No. I haven't had the opportunity to speak to him since election night.
Let's bring in. Why don't you bring in somebody that you have there?
did speak with the governor though this morning, didn't you?
Yeah, but let's bring in. Why don't you bring in who you have there? Then we'll get to the governor.
We have Julie on the line. Hello, Julie.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you speak a little bit louder?
Okay. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, sounds good. You
We
have a
got
question
ya.
for
So
Peter
I have
and
a
Tom?
question for Peter.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for Peter.
Sure, Julie, go ahead.
Can you? Yes. The things that you have been saying about how the Republican Party needs to change are wonderful. It's exactly what we need. But what are we waiting for? If in fact you said there are all of those freshmen in Congress that could have replaced Boehner, what are we waiting for? It's all very nice and it's all theoretically wonderful. What are we waiting for? The country the economy is tanking. Things are happening every day, and we still have the same leadership. Why don't we have good leadership in the Republican Party? You're going to go to a meeting, you're going to sit around, you're going to talk, but where is the action in the Republican Party?
I feel
Great
your
question.
pain. I can hear your pain. It's coming through the headset, loud and clear. And the congressman that I spoke to, Steve Sutherland from North Florida, he is now on the leadership team, in the Boehner leadership team, and he told me right to my face last Saturday night that things are going to change immediately, that Boehner got the message, and the fight over the debt ceiling, which is coming up soon, will be the next litmus test. If we do not pass that litmus test by fighting strong for getting the spending under control, then we'll see what happens. But I am told that the Republicans are going to stand up and be counted on that test. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Newt Gingrich says that the Republicans going to cave on that. He was just saying that in the Sunday morning. He says, give up the debt ceiling issue. Don't even start fighting it. Just give it up, and because you guys are going to cave anyway.
That's right, and we'll see
Right.
how quickly they cave on these nominations.
We can't
for
give up,
Secretary
or
of
we will end up with a
Defense
third
and
party.
State.
Yeah.
I talked to a lot of Tea Party people.
And that's what we're hearing.
And we
too.
will end up with a third party, and we can't afford that because basically then what you're going to do is you're
Split.
going to take the Republican Party, let's say, is a number of 8, and the Democrats right now are 8.5, and then you're going to make the Republican Party 6 and the Tea Party 2, and the sum of the parts don't equal the whole, and we'll lose elections.
So Peter,
We're losing them now.
No, we're not, actually. We have more state houses than we ever have had. We have more governors than we've ever had. It's not all gloom and doom around the country.
So Peter,
But if I could just say that I think that the Democrat Party is so organized. They have such strategy.
they're on a roll.
They don't have they go out there with their talking points. They all are parrots. They all say the same thing. We're not united. I'm a Republican. We're not united. We don't go out there. We don't have strategy. We don't have good leadership. And in the meantime, we've lost 2 presidential elections back to back. And I don't really see that. I don't see good leadership in the future.
Well, let's not.
And it frightens me.
Julie, I hear your pain, Julie, but don't forget, 2 years ago in the 2010 cycle, we kicked their butts. We took over legislatures all over the United States, including Wisconsin, including Michigan. You're seeing the fruits of that labor now as Michigan voted recently to become a right-to-work state. We gained all those seats in the House. And so you can't judge everything by what happened in this cycle. Yes, we lost the presidential again, but that's because we're nominating the wrong people. I mean, between Bob Dole, John McCain, and Mitt Romney, okay, they're just not going to emotionally appeal to the American people. And in this day and age, we needed an emotional appealer as well as somebody who bases his views on logic and reason. That's Marco Rubio. That's Ted Cruz. There's a lot of people all over the United States who are like that. You'll see that begin to get developed. Hang in there, Julie. Don't lose hope. Keep the faith. You've got a lot of new people coming in the party like me. like Congressman Sutherland, like Marco Rubio, but it's like turning a battleship around. It takes time, but we'll do it. Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Thanks, Julie.
Thanks for
Appreciate it.
calling in.
Okay.
Thank you. And we have time for one more quick caller before we go to the break. Lauren, you have a question for Peter or Tom?
I do. I just want to first say, Tom Trento, it's Lauren Martell. Looking forward to seeing you in South Carolina.
Hey, how are you? Looking forward to being there.
Doing great.
This is
The Tea
another
Party is alive and well, and I think Americans really are. It's an exciting time. And so my question, though, is why do we even engage in the discussions of compromise and the money discussions in Congress when the Senate hasn't passed a budget yet?
Well, that's correct. Here's what I told Boehner, not directly, but through intermediaries, is that you've passed your budget. You guys should have gone home over the holidays. Say, we did our job. We passed our budget. Here, when you act on a bill, Mr. Reed, over there in the Senate, we'll come back. Until then, we're home. We did our job. We did our constitutional job. You do yours, we'll come back. That takes a lot of guts. But it's going to get so bad in this country, we need to do it.
I don't understand. It's almost like they're operating in a vacuum without knowing all the information. And anybody else who has, a job that they do would have to gather as much, solid information and all the facts before they would even engage in, a debate or even, a discussion on what would be a reasonable compromise. How can you know what a reasonable compromise is if you don't have all the facts?
Yes, good point. Plus, we lost control of the debate. The debate starts and ends with this. If we don't get our spending under control, we're done as a country. Therefore, when you come to me with some spending cuts, we have something to talk about. Until then, we have nothing to talk about. End of discussion. That's how it should have gone. Every day. Every day. Yeah. Repeat the same message. Repeat this. This is not about revenue increases. You can confiscate 100% of the wealth of all the 1%ers in the United States. You're going to pay for the government for 80 days. And then what do we do for the next 280? Okay.
Next 280
then go down,
years.
Now confiscate the wealth. Yeah. Now confiscate the wealth of the next 2%, 3%, 4%, until you're just like every other socialist country. So
that's where it's going.
That's right. But that message, let me tell you, I'm going to Charlotte in a week and a half. I'm going to repeat that message over and over. I'll come back on this radio show after that winter meeting in Charlotte, and we'll see what kind of progress we've made. Because I'm not going up there to be an ornament or to hold a title. I'm going up there to make a difference.
Well, I'm getting texts and emails. People are going, the GOP's done. It's time to do something else. Okay. So you got a big job in front of you.
If we do something else, we won't hold power for 30 years because that's how long it takes.
But the counter-argument is we're not going to hold power. The demographics are on the side of Obama as Santa Claus, giving illegals and gays and everybody else stuff, and they win.
That's a false premise because we are the party of first-generation Americans. We're going to start having registration tables at swearing-in ceremonies for new citizens. The Republican Party is the party of freedom and opportunity. That's the party for first- and second-generation Americans.
Where were the evangelical Christians? They didn't show up.
We'll hold that over.
We'll hold that over because we got a break right now.
Okay. We're on a hard break.
You can't stay.
I can stay a little bit because I love you guys.
Okay, Peter's going to stay with us. So 888-565-1470. We're killing him. He bills only about $2,000 an hour. So no, he's reasonable.
I'm a man of the people.
He's a man of the people. We'll be right back after this short break.